What is good, guys? It is Reese from Powerlifting Talks. Just before we get too into it, just please make sure you like and subscribe. It means the world to me. Okay, today's topic is going to be about weaknesses in your lift. What kind of variations of movements of that lift that you should do if you have said weakness, and specifically my weakness and what I'm doing to deal with it. Now, first off, I mention this a lot, but I mention it a lot because I stress it. It's super important. You should, especially when you're warming up, do really slow reps. Like right here, even just with the bar, I'm taking my sweet, sweet time, just getting that movement pattern really refreshed and ingrained in your brain more. Because I don't care how good you are, how long you have been lifting for. Let's take a guy who's been lifting for 10 years. Let's say he had a really stressful week for whatever reason, had to take some time off. It's been like a week or maybe even 10 days since the guy has bench pressed. He's not going to be able to go in and do his first set and it look beautiful. No, no, no. He's going to be like, whoa, I got to get used to this again. Now, I have mentioned before about the whole thing where you can't just always pick a super, super lightweight and use that to get better at the movement because it doesn't not heavy enough to challenge your form. Doesn't mean you should never lift light weights. Like I still warm up with a bar, I still warm up with a plate, and even though that's not challenging my form, what it is doing is just getting the movement pattern in. We're not even gonna go into about instabilities and form issues. We're just trying to get the basic movement down. Today, that's the bench press. So let's talk about weaknesses. So I would say my biggest problem with my bench is if I was going to miss a lift, it's going to be very close from off my chest. So what that means is that very, very bottom position, I am the weakest. This is not true for everyone. Okay? You might see a lot of videos online where people are about literally halfway up and that's their hardest part of their lift. You see some other people and they kind of explode from the bottom and then it really slows and they're just struggling just to finish that final elbow bend because there gets to a point with the lift where your chest have done all the work, your shoulders have pushed up as much as you can, and you literally just need that last like inch or two for your triceps to extend. That guy has weak triceps. So should he be doing what I'm doing for my weakness? Absolutely not. There's a bunch of stuff I could go into what he could do, but that's not what today's video is about. Today's video is about when you're the weakest off your chest. Now, some people that do not pause bench, I don't give any hate to you. That's your decision. Do what you want. But I've been there where before I started pause benching, you'd kind of go for a PR and you're just about to touch chest and you just get this like fear of, oh no, I'm not going to make the lift. So you press it before it touches your chest. And we all know that don't count. So just kind of getting used to the bar being on your chest, used to that weight, used to the feeling of staying tight and focused the whole time. It's really important. Honestly, this specific accessory for bench press is probably good for everyone. I can't really see a scenario where it wouldn't be good for you. I mean, mind you, if you're that tricep guy, there's probably better things you can do for your situation. But just in general, most people, I would say, if they're gonna fail a bench, it's gonna be very close from off their chest. You get it up a certain point and like, okay, I know it's moving. So yeah, for me, what we're doing today is about a 4 count in my head as an eccentric. Even though I feel really confident with my eccentric on my bench press, it's still really important to just be very strong in that position. A lot of people tell you that eccentric phase will determine if your concentric phase is going to keep going. So I do about a 4 count there, and I'm doing about a 4 count on my chest as a pause, just to again get really comfortable in your weakest position. I've had many times where I'm just like I touch chest and I don't know, you just kind of overthink it and then you just untense certain things or you tense almost too much. You like do wasted leg drive, for example, and that's not good. So super, super controlled. I'm really, as I'm doing my pause and as I'm doing my eccentric, don't think about like just the movement. I want you to almost think about every little muscle and what it needs to do to complete that movement. What is my rear delt doing here? What is my core doing here? Like when that bar is on my chest, like you'll notice I don't really move around that much. That's because I'm super, super tense. Now, let's get into another reason why accessory movement is awesome. See, with this variation and a lot of different variations of the big three lifts, it's going to be less fatiguing on your mind, not your body necessarily, but on your mind. Every set today was about RPE 5 or 6, and I don't normally do 4 sets of bench. You might notice that. I don't normally do it, but these sets were so much easier on my brain, like they were less fatiguing, that I could add a whole nother set, get that much more skill practice, and add that much more volume into my workouts. I did 9 sets this day. That's a lot for me. There was 2 sets of cable flies after my incline bench here. But that's a lot. But I could do that because I'm doing a harder variation of the movement that challenges my muscles, not my mind necessarily. Now, a little thing I might mention. It's important not to get caught up in this, oh, I'm going to make this lift this much more difficult so that when I do the actual lift, it feels really easy. And there is some merit to that. But I used to be a guy where I like to do deflect deadlifts. If you don't know what that is, you stand about like 1 to like maybe 3 plates, 4 plates, as long as you can still grab the bar with your toes under it. And you start there. So it's much, much more difficult. And I really like them. I still kind of like them, but I haven't done them in a while, and I'll explain why. Because I would do them every single time unless it's like a heavy day, or I was going for like a big 1 rep max, or like a hard set of 3 or hard set of 5. But in my head, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm always going to do this movement more difficult. So when I do it, it's going to feel easier. Yes, but here's where it's kind of iffy. See, you get so used to the harder variation that you almost kind of forget how to do the regular movement really good. Now, I definitely don't want to say never do the harder movement. I just explained why my long pause benching was so awesome for me. But I only do this 1 out of 3 times that I end up lifting. So I still do the regular movement more often. That's my main point here. I still think you should have majority of your volume for your big lifts as the regular movement instead of some pause variation or some other kind of way to make it harder. You still really want to master the movement, but you definitely also want to challenge your weakness. I think a really humble thing to do to really progress all your lifts is be like, okay, where do I fail my lift? Why do I fail my lift? Do I feel weak here? Do I just get nervous? Do I just get scared? Because that can definitely happen. I've had plenty of times going into a lift and, like, say I'm squatting, like my first couple times trying 4 plates, and I just cut the depth early because I just get scared. But the more comfortable you are in your spooky positions, the better you're going to perform. You're not going to be as nervous. You're not going to overthink it. Like, so much can happen. Like, if you're going for a really big lift and you almost have these thoughts of, oh, I don't want to fail, I don't want to fail, and then you end up doing it, but it, like, wasn't to your standard. So, main point of today is find out your weakness, find out what can you do to fight that weakness, because I don't care how good you are at any movement, there is some part of that movement which you're the worst at. So that's the main point today. So our last set right here, you'll notice even these sets, like incline bench is kind of a totally different movement, but it's still practicing kind of staying tight. So in that way, this and regular bench is similar. Okay, that's all the time I have for today. If you guys enjoyed, again, please like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. And we will catch you guys in the next one. Also, go follow my TikTok. That will be in the description for my better looking clips. Alrighty, have a good night, guys. Peace.